Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Shai Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors be unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. Right, to the scattered Israelites that are scattered among the four corners of the earth, among the heathen, often looking like the heathen, that be like unto the speckled bird. To them I say shalom. To the Akwaf that are listening and learning. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson and video. I'm profiling this on Lisa Cabrero's channel, and it's called Department of Homeland Security Admits WS, meaning white supremacies or supremacist domestic terrorism is a major problem in the U.S. And it always have been. As a matter of fact, America was founded upon a racist and terroristic act. What was done to my people, the so-called natives of the Americans, was all terrorism. What was done to my people who are down in South America and in the islands were acts of terrorism. All right. What was done to my people who were brought over here on the slave ships, all right, and sold in the markets, which actually set up the financial infrastructure, all right, which helped set it up, because you got the land for free by terroristic, murderous acts, and then setting up your own laws, you know, all in the name of Edomite Cesare Borgia, all in the name of this lie. You brought this lie to the shores of America and told everyone that was God, that was Jesus. All right. This man here posed. All right. He became the new image of the Lord. All right, represent Edom. And if you notice how red his skin is, all right, because you have to remember, these people refer to themselves as white, but their skin isn't white. Their skin is translucent and often pinkish red because their blood shows forth through their skin. All right, let's go to Genesis real quick, the 25th chapter. This is Genesis 25. And I'm going to start at verse 19. And it reads, "And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel the Syrian, and Padawan, and the sister of Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren. And Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations, meaning 2 different races, are in thy womb. 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So they were never going to get along or be together. And one shall be stronger than the, and it says, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people. And the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days, and when is the elder going to serve the younger? When the kingdom of heaven comes, not before. Because the elder son, which is going to be described physically, all right, and there's a reason for it, because no one on earth looked that way. He was the first of his kind. Okay? But it says, and he's going to serve the young in the kingdom of heaven. All right? Verse 24, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. All right? And they called his name Esau. And in the ancient world, they used to take badger bags and goat skins, All right, with the goat skins for sure. All right, maybe they did badger bags later on, but goat skins, they would take them and they would dye them red. And he was comparing Esau. Isaac was comparing his son Esau as to being one of those red looking like that. All right, and Esau means wasted away as he. And all you have to do is go to any maternity ward at any hospital in America around the world and look at all the Edomite babies when they're born. And behold, they're born, they look red. They're red because their blood is showing forth through their skin. Extremely red at that time because they just squeezed through the birth canal. All right, so there's no argument as to who the Edomites are. As a matter of fact, scientists have just dug up different spots in Basra showing that the city of Edom actually existed. All right, a bunch of scientists. You know, I reposted that video on my channel, which was done by the Ephraimite brother Rapaya, beautiful brother in the camp here in Chicago, up and coming brother. All right, his lessons are becoming more and more edifying. All right. But yeah, it's no argument as to who the Edomites are. And then they've tried to disguise themselves and hide behind all these titles, these different titles that they've had over the centuries, over the years. All right? And the latest one being white. Right? They refer to themselves as white now. White nationalists. There's no such thing as white people. There's brown people and there's red people. And the red people are the Edomites. All right? They put that title on Native Americans who were painted red, whose skin is brown. As a matter of fact, a lot of natives were just as dark and sometimes darker than Negroes. And there are images of them going back, you know, hundreds of years to prove that. All right? So Esau Edom is the true terrorist. Like it's going to be mentioned in this video, all the shootings and the murders, that mass shootings, you know, shooting up 30, 40, 50, 60 people, 70 people, not just here in America, around the world, man. This is nothing. And we've been saying this all along. I mean, John Lemon said it on national TV. Maybe it's time that we take a look at the white male in America, because the media is set up to make the so-called white male to look good, never to look bad. Whenever they come out as to doing something really bad in the news, the distraction stories come in like a flood. And they'll constantly search for news and put up the face of a brown man with the quickness. 2 or 3. All right? You got to remember, this is a controlled narrative. They control what goes on the news and in the media. The media is controlled by Edom himself. The very terrorist himself. I always tell you, the most dangerous men are men with bald faces that wear neckties. Right? You call them judges and lawyers. Media moguls. People like Epstein. The guy, that guy Kraft, the football guy. Those are your worst terrorists. Without any further ado, let's let the sister Lisa Corbera say her piece.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an article that came out in Rolling Stone. And just looking at the title of this article, we have been saying this forever in the Black community. We have always said this was one of the biggest problems in America: white supremacy, domestic terrorism. You know, we can go back and look after all the cases that have happened, all of the shootings, all of the mass shootings, and manifestos were written and we read over, and one thing that's ringing true in those manifestos, each one of those guys were white supremacists. and gladly wrote down who they hated in this country. They had no problem doing it. So, extremism is nothing new to America.
Let's take that back a little bit. Just a little bit. All right?
Extremism is
Right there, it says 100% white. Now, I want you to look at his left and right shoulder. It's not the same color as the white patch. You can't make his skin white. It is not. Even the dirty white stripes on that flag that he has, or that bandana he has wrapped around his face. All right? His skin is not that color. There is no such thing as white people. They placed that title upon themselves, all right, in 1681 in Virginia. And that's been proven historically. The first time in law that there was any group of humanity that was referred to as white. The Edomites had struck again and changed their name and their identity yet again.
is nothing new to America. And many of us have seen in our lifetime these shootings. So, and we've seen it in different forms, ladies and gentlemen. We have seen it in many, many different forms. And no, they do not have to have on any Ku Klux Klan robe or, or hood on their head to be a white supremacist. We've seen it in many forms. We've seen it in the form of these phone calls made out here. We've seen it done on our children. We've seen it in police departments around this country. We have seen the threats online in the terrorism. We have seen it in many, many forms in America. So, after so many shootings that happened in America, they are now facing the truth. So, in the wake of the El Paso shooting and other white supremacist motivated attacks, the Department of Homeland Security has added white supremacy to its list of domestic terrorism threats, marking the first time since the creation of the department post 9/11 that it has emphasized white nationalist domestic terrorism as a threat on par with that posed by foreign groups. No, it's not foreign groups. It's not Al-Qaeda doing this stuff on American soil, or BIE. We don't have no history like that, despite the fact that they're trying to make this false equivalent.
So this whole BIE, Esau loves just making up titles and labels. Like the scripture said, we become proverbs and bywords, and that's just another byword. Like she said, there is no BIE, what they call. First of all, there's no such thing as black people. They're brown. All right, and they're not, and the people prescribed to that. It's just pure ignorance and brainwashed by the lies that Esau Edom has told. Right, there's really no such thing.
Equivalents that they can never technically make.
Let's take that back.
You never seen that from anybody else more than history like that, despite the fact that it's not foreign groups. It's not Al-Qaeda doing this stuff on American soil, or BIE. We don't have no history like that, despite the fact that they're trying to make this false equivalence that they can never technically make. You never seen that from anybody else more than we have seen domestic terrorism from white supremacists and these white nationalists. Okay, we saw it in Charlottesville too. And ladies and gentlemen, if you remember, it was Trump that shut down the investigations on white supremacist groups when he took office. And look at what has happened from that time all the way up until now.
Look at what's been happening all along. All right, you're the police departments, within the government, within city government. I mean, they have systems of white superiority within the banking systems. Right, that's been going on forever. That allow Edomites to get ahead financially, to get bank loans and businesses and home loans. You got your redlining. You had the Homestead Act going back to the 1800s. The FHA, with its first 40 plus years of operation, operated on the Edomite only. So imagine what 40 plus years of being able to get loans and buy businesses and homes can get you. How much you could collect to pass on to your own and set up a policy within the government that keeps the money flowing into your neighborhoods and your areas, etc., etc. Those are acts of terrorism. So terroristic acts don't just necessarily have to be of violence. But this is what Esau has coming, because it's all coming down and they're exposed. Right? But this is Lamentation 4:21. And it reads, "Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwelleth in the land of Uz," which you can compare that to America today. "The cup also shall pass through unto thee, and thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked." So that cup of being terrorized, misused, and abused, and treated unfairly is going to come onto you, and it's going to come onto you double, according to the scriptures. And you have been made naked, because your whiteness has been taken away. The lie of whiteness, the shield of whiteness has been taken away. You are the red Hebrew Edomites, that the wretched Basra of the Bible. That is you, so-called white man. Verse 22, "The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion." So Israel, Yasharallah, it's almost over. "He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins." Call Halal Yahweh Shai, Hashem Wakak Wadash, Wa Abad Babal.